boy. You are so smart and capable. You're a god, a highly sophisticated individual. You are clearly going places with your life. Fucking dumbass. How can you possibly be this stupid? What are you doing with your life? You're a failure. Life can be dull sometimes. Days feel repetitive, like we're just going through the motions, trapped, or worst of all, bored. Sometimes it helps to have a little League. For one, it's stimulating, and it makes us feel again. Whether that's rage or... rage? At least you're feeling something, and it's accessible. Just the click of a button and 10 minutes in queue, and you're in a game. This makes League a perfect distraction. Let's deep dive into what League really does to your brain. What makes League of Legends engaging? As a baseline, there's a lot of raw stimulation built into the game. It's colorful, there are appealing sounds, there's even an announcer that hypes you up when you do well, which I never hear. League also has an effective reward system. There's positive reinforcement, which is getting a reward, stuff like gaining gold, securing kills, taking objectives, all feel good and encourage repeat behavior. There's also negative punishment, which is removing a reward. Dying literally puts you in timeout. The screen goes gray and you can't play for a little bit. Missing a cannon takes away your gold, which makes you feel bad. On top of this system, League is scarily good at drip feeding dopamine. Variable ratio reinforcement systems give rewards at semi-random intervals. League does this perfectly. Everything you do, gaining gold, taking objectives, or landing big damage is a form of reinforcement. Since game events like fights, objectives, and kills don't happen at fixed times, your rewards are always slightly unpredictable. Even though player skill can influence these events, the timing still follows a variable ratio schedule, meaning that you never quite know when the next hit of dopamine is going to come. The unpredictability of these rewards makes us want to keep playing. This is known as the Skinner box effect. But dopamine isn't all of what makes League addictive. It's also the emotional roller coaster you ride when playing. Winning feels euphoric, while losing induces rage. You would think that people would be turned off by all the emotions when playing, but they actually enhance the experience for players. The contrast between highs and lows make it more immersive. If you've been bored farming all game, it's gonna feel way more exciting when you finally fight and get a kill. Another thing to think about is how we want to avoid our personal negative emotions, like boredom, anxiety, and depression. If we're cycling between joy and rage over a game, we're not thinking about life. Ranked modes have become standard in games for a reason. They add long-term motivation to play. Number go up? Good! This also provides us with rank goals. When League becomes a bigger part of our life and we start to take it more seriously, it's easy to fall into the self-worth trap. This is when our self-worth is attached to rank, masters by the way. In extreme cases, climbing can feel like a reflection of our worth, intelligence, or even personal value, masters by the way. When our self-worth is at risk, this can easily lead into ego-protective behavior. This is where self-serving bias comes into play. When we win, we like to attribute it to internal factors like skill. But when we lose, we blame externals like teammates, matchmaking, or Riot Free. The purpose all of this serves is to feed into our ego. Self-worth being tied to the game makes wins and losses even more of an emotional roller coaster. Another important aspect to talk about is the sunk cost fallacy. When we put so much value on rank, it makes it harder to take breaks from playing the game for short and long-term reasons. For short-term, you think, I've spent 2 hours playing today just to lose 3 in a row. I've got to play more to fix my rank. And for long-term, you think, I've spent years playing this game just to hit diamond, and now that I've demoted, I've got to play more to get it back. This leads to a one more game mentality, where you're just chasing the next win. Learned helplessness. As you can see, it's very easy to have an unhealthy relationship with League of Legends. Having one makes us play worse, hurts our ego, and we start focusing more and more on what we can't control. It can escalate to the point where we completely stop believing that we have any control over the game whatsoever. This is learned helplessness. Believing all losses are inevitable, wins are luck, matchmaking is rigged, every game is a jungle gap. The moment this happens, you start playing worse, thinking less, and reinforcing your own failure. And the worst thing is, you're not going to even realize you're doing it. You'll just be stuck. Is League just gambling? I've just described the game in a very cynical way. Is it just a slot machine with extra steps? Yeah, it can be.
Sitting around making taking your power for you? That's slavery.
It's society. They work for each other, Morty. They pay each other. They buy houses. They get married and make children that replace them when they get too old to make power.
That just sounds like slavery with extra steps.
Ooh la la. Someone's gonna get laid in college.
At the end of the day, Riot, like any company, designs their product to be as addictive as possible. It's part of what makes them money. It's not all bad though, because it's also why League's fun. And luckily for us, Riot would never encourage us to gamble with our actual money, right? Right? If you interact with League of Legends like a degenerate gambler, you're gonna get the results of one. You'll end most sessions feeling manipulated, pissed off, and sad. League doesn't have to be this way. Let's have a little Avatar throwback as our analogy. Zuko spent all of his life hunting the Avatar. He wanted to prove his worth and earn Daddy's love. His bending was fueled by rage, pain, and desperation. He was chasing external validation and could have not been more misguided by his dad. Eventually, he let go of wanting external approval and suddenly lost his bending ability. He had been missing the point of fire his entire life. He thought it was all about power and dominance, but its true essence is energy and life. Learning that allowed him to truly master bending. League is the same way. If you play fueled by frustration, ego, and needing to prove something, it will consume you. But if you play with the mindset of learning, discipline, and self-improvement, it can actually make you stronger, not just as a player, but as a person. So it's time to turn that heroin into healing. Develop a stronger growth mindset. Is it fun being the victim? Does it feel good and satisfying to have everything be unfair and out of your control? Are people receptive to you when you say how tough your life is? Do things actually improve? Nope. It just fucking sucks. One of my first jobs was bussing tables for a restaurant, and I loved it. I got to run around, enjoyed the team environment, and got along great with everyone. I felt happy when I was there. One day, my coworkers were venting, saying, "We don't get paid enough. This job is bullshit." At first, I was taken back, because I genuinely never had thought about it that way. But over time, I started feeding more into that victim mindset. I started feeling grumpy at work, my attitude worsened, and I even had a couple of rude moments with my boss. I went from loving my job to feeling mixed or even negative about it. What's wacky is that literally nothing about my job had changed, only my perspective. That made all the difference for my performance, and more importantly, my enjoyment. League should be a challenge, not an escape. League just takes the edge off. It's just one game to relax a little, I swear. But when the game ends, your problems are still there. Anxiety in the back of the mind ruins a good time. It makes it impossible to truly enjoy the game. League and life are at their best when you can be present. League must be about self-improvement, not self-worth. A little fix-a-lol just doesn't hit like it used to. It used to feel euphoric, now I just feel bad about myself. When we started League, we played it to have fun or get better. After spending a lot of time playing, it can quickly devolve into feeling like a reflection of us as a person. Losing means we're a failure, winning means we're not. If League starts feeling this way, it may be time to take a step back and work on developing intrinsic trust in your worth and capabilities. League is our tool. Don't be a tool. One more game and I'll feel well. I really just didn't get enough yet. League was never meant to make us feel well. It's not a fix. It's a tool for focus, discipline, and learning. When we start using it to grow, we won't need one more game to feel good. We'll feel good because we actually get better and feel capable of learning. So, what does a healthy relationship with League do to your brain? Improve cognitive abilities. Playing real-time strategy games like League of Legends are associated with improvements in various cognitive domains. Visuospatial working memory. This is our ability to retain and interact with visual and spatial information in real time. This allows us to better remember where objects, people, and locations are to inform decisions. For example, when driving, we use visuospatial memory. We have to keep track of other cars, people, and objects around us in order to navigate the road safely, and our sense of direction helps get us to the right destination. Attention control. This is our ability to focus on important information while ignoring distractions. Do you ever find yourself struggling to study because it's too noisy? It sounds like you need to develop your attention control by hopping on the Summoner's Rift. Cognitive flexibility. This is our ability to switch between different tasks and modes of thinking without getting stuck. For many jobs, cognitive flexibility is essential. Say you work for a guy named Boeing, and part of your job is blowing a whistle to make sure everyone is following the rules. Some days, you'll need to quickly switch between enforcing safety regulations and managing your sudden suicidal thoughts. Cognitive flexibility makes that transition much smoother. League of Legends builds emotional resilience and mental discipline. League is by nature a game with tons of ups and downs. For this reason, it can help develop emotional regulation. League can be an excellent tool to practice navigating your emotions more effectively. This will translate amazingly to day-to-day life, as we are all highly emotional beings at the end of the day. Having a better toolkit for addressing our emotions is always going to be beneficial. Mental discipline. Learning to understand your ego and take accountability will lead you to having a much healthier and more productive self-dialogue. This will help anywhere in life. League develops satisfaction and confidence. Improving and hitting long-term goals in League is an incredibly satisfying process. Seeing yourself get better and knowing the hard work you've put in is gratifying and rewarding. You know how hard it was and the hurdles you overcame to get here. Having a successful learning process in League or anything will do a tremendous job in building your confidence and trusting your ability to learn anything. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video, and be sure to let me know what I should do next.